Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat from Nashville, Tennessee, hedge fund manager, behavioral economist, and columnist for Forbes, Thomas Landstreet. Tom, it's interesting, while this negotiation has been going on, apparently, and certainly under the Obama administration, China has been continuing to steal intellectual property to the tune of some you really can't even calculate in a dollar figure the theft of intellectual property, but they figure somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 billion in intellectual theft. This is why, in dealing with China, it's not just a trade issue, it's a national security issue, and I think Donald Trump understands this.
Yeah, it's shocking, Graham, that he's the first president to actually bring it to people's attention. You know, one of the most interesting things I think he's done is to bring this glaring problem to the attention of everyone. Originally, you may remember, people were totally against his stance against China. Now everybody's on board. And isn't it funny how they apparently have accelerated their stealing of our technology, last 2 years. It's probably like, I hear that when an alcoholic gets ready to go to rehab, they get drunk the night before they go. Maybe it's a pull forward effect. Maybe they're trying to get as much as they can now before the sheriff comes in and ruins it for them.
And I think that we're seeing the effects of Donald Trump's tough trade stance toward China. There's a lot of internal pushback to President Xi. It's not being widely reported, but we're understanding that the Communist Party is not terribly happy with him. So hopefully the internal pressure and the external pressure will produce some sort of deal where we get rid of these tariffs, because tariffs hurt the American people, and they hurt trade in general. We don't want to live in a world with tariff here, tariff there, tariff everywhere.
Totally agreed, and China's a bad actor, and they always have been a bad actor. None of their economic statistics are real. They've built their entire economy off manipulation, not only of their own people, of their own balance sheet, but also the world trade situation, as you well know and you've highlighted.
Now, speaking of communists, Bernie Sanders. Here's a guy, unbelievably, proffers a bill that actually says what it is. You know, many of these bills in Congress don't say what they are, like the Affordable Health Care Act. That's a misnomer if I've ever heard one. But here's Bernie Sanders with the Stop Walmart Act. And it basically means what it says. He's trying to have government control of one of the best companies in our private sector.
Well, you know, he knows it's not going to pass, Graham. You could call this the Bernie Sanders for President Act. He's trying to just stimulate the left, and he can claim a victory with Bezos. Bezos has a lot more to lose, by the way, than Walmart. Bezos is a darling of the left. He's a member of the new economy. Walmart's the old economy. We all know the images of the Walmart shopper. They're the deplorables. The left does not like Walmart in any way. This is an effort to run for president. He knows it won't pass. And besides that, of course, as you claimed, it's a bad idea.
Of course it is. But it speaks to who Bernie Sanders is. Now, the current president, Donald Trump, can't be terribly happy with the reading on the economy that's out today. This is home builder confidence. They're saying that the number is dropping because of a demand essentially stalling across the republic, except possibly in certain pockets, maybe like California. But overall, demand is stalling. This can't be good. Now, the number is still positive, though, right?
Yeah, and by the way, Nashville's growing like a weed. Florida's growing like a weed. Texas is growing like a weed because we have zero income tax domiciles. If you look at the Southeast, we're continuing to grow at the expense of places like Connecticut, Maryland, and elsewhere. That's one note that I would mention. The other one is this. Have you looked at the home builder stocks today, though? Today's a very bad day in the market. They're up. If you look at Lennar or KB Homes, they're up, Graham. You've got to wonder, why are they up in the midst of bad news? And I'll tell you why. I think the market's looking ahead. Something that you and I have talked about here on the show is my expectation for the Fed to basically reverse themselves. I do not think QT, quantitative tightening, that is the Fed raising interest rates, can last another minute. And the market is telling them that they are too tight. And there's great risk. Another thing I mentioned to you is the term structure of the federal debt. You know, $11.1 trillion of federal government debt comes due within 5 years, $3.5 trillion just next year. If the Fed raises rates, we are in trouble. And guess what? I believe the home builder stocks up today is looking ahead to the Fed not raising rates. In fact, reversing, just like Janet Yellen did in early 2016.
Well, hopefully Jerome Powell is paying attention to these numbers like you and I are. I know there's a lot of people on Wall Street who are saying to Jerome Powell, cool it. and hopefully you will. Tom, thanks.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.